Studies have shown that the farm soil we get our vegetables from is dead, meaning it is depleted of minerals. Sulfur is a mineral. Sulfur has been depleted from the soil, which means most people have been depleted of sulfur. Sulfur has been found to transport oxygen throughout the body. You need oxygen. You need organic sulfur. American Voice Radio Network has organic sulfur. Go to AmericanVoiceRadio.com and then to the Superstore to order your organic sulfur. It's your choice. Do you want to feel better or not? Don't forget to tune in to the Sulfur Hour Plus One on AmericanVoiceRadio.com, Thursdays, 6 p.m. Pacific. Food prices have increased over 40%. Energy prices have increased over 20%. Wheat and gas prices have increased over 70%. What's going to be next? Do you see these trends reversing or even stabilizing? All fiat currencies have always failed and collapsed their economies on their way down. The Roman Empire, China, France, Argentina, Finland, Mexico, Russia, and Zimbabwe all tried fiat currency and all collapsed into chaos. Meanwhile, the dollar has lost over 97% of its gold value since 1971, when an ounce of gold was valued at $35. If your assets are in paper, you are in danger. Protect your assets with gold and silver. Visit Discount Gold and Silver Trading at dgscoins.com. That's dgscoins.com, or call 1-800-375-4188. That's 800-375-4188. Protect yourself and your family. Most people realize their body needs clean water to function properly. Pure is the cleanest water, also known as distilled water. Some frauds pushing fake science and ignorant people repeating their disinformation and half-truths will tell you distilled water leaches minerals from the body. What they fail to tell you is distilled water only attracts and flushes inorganic minerals from your body. These are minerals your body cannot process and can interfere with your proper body functions. Distilled water does flush these inorganic materials from your body and is an effective and natural way to cleanse your body. AVR sells a distiller that distills 1 gallon every 3.5 hours. Go to AmericanVoiceRadio.com, click on the Superstore, go to the distiller, check the pricing and how to order, and watch the video explaining in detail why distilled water is pure water.
Good evening and welcome to America Betrayed. You're listening to us on AVR, American Voice Radio Network. We're always going to hear the truth. Don't go listen to the garbage on the mainstream media, because that's all it is garbage. Entertainment for a lot of people. Probably the liberals. It's entertainment for them. I mean, we are being dismantled little by little. little by little, this country is being dismantled. And, hello. All right. And a lot of people don't even realize it. I mean, I realize it because I've been around a long time. I've seen what they've already dismantled. So, people, wake up. Wake up to the fact that there is white genocide going on in this country. It's happened in other countries, specifically South Africa. It's taken a little longer here because we're a much larger country. Affirmative action only excludes one group of people, and that's white males. If you turn on television right now, watch TV shows, you'll see that blacks have taken over hosting most of the programs now. On the TV news channels, you see a black man and a white woman. This is by design. The people that run the whole show want a communist-type government. Now, the people running our government, the ones on the surface, are very sick people. My friend Ted Gunderson was killed because he was trying to expose the pedophilia and the satanic sacrifices that these scumballs, slimeballs, perpetrate on little children. They kidnap them and use them for satanic sacrifices. Ted was trying to expose it. Ted used to be head of the FBI office in Los Angeles. They tried to write him off as a kook. But they saw, wow, he's getting somewhere with it. So they tested his air conditioning units with arsenic and got him. The police department's all militarized. Why do you think that is? They're all militarized. The police at one time when I was younger, if I had a couple of beers, hey, they'd pull you over, make you park the car, and then drive you home. They don't do that now because it's called taxation without representations. Believe it or not, the police are our enemy. Now, the other thing I noticed up on Drudge Report is that the nightclub gunman in Orlando, his father was working with the FBI. Well, what do you know? Now, what do you think happened in Las Vegas? I said this on my show before, but the gunman, supposedly the gunman up there, was working for the FBI also. It was ISIS who shot him. They had 30 FBI agents come into that building, that casino, the day before. 30. Who do you think put the cameras in the hallway? Not this guy. You don't commit suicide by shooting yourself in the chest. We've been lied to up the yin-yang about everything. When I went to work in Congress many, many years ago, I go, whoa, wait a minute. The Democrats, these guys are communists. I thought the Republicans were the good guys. Well, fooled again. Fooled again. These are evil people running our government. Evil. Pure evil. There's nothing redeeming about it. They're almost as evil as the Catholic Church. The Pope, this Pope who's another slimeball, saying we've got to embrace Muslims. Yeah, right. Okay, embrace them while they cut your heads off. Well, tonight I have a young gentleman on the show who I heard was going to want to go into ministry into South Africa or another country. And he's a very nice kid. And I asked him, I said, why don't you try going to the ministry here in this country as a missionary? We have plenty of kids out there that are starving, have no clothes. Why don't you help them? Start here at home. Why is it everybody's always saying, hey, let's help the people, the poor kids in Africa. They hate us. Well, I'm hoping we can maybe change his mind and direct him to the right path to where he can really do some good, because he seems like a really decent kid. he's a friend of my nephew's, and my nephew felt that he should be on the show, and I think he was right. So, first off, I'd like to first introduce my guest, Karin. Karin Smith is there. Also, Orlean is there.
John.
And first, we're going to hear from Spirito. Spirito is his name. Spirito, I want you to.
I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Spirito. I want you to explain why you would want to go to South Africa as a missionary.
I think the main reason I do a lot of work here in Northern California with humanitarian things, but in the end, there's sometimes certain drives that pull you toward certain regions, and I don't see why one is better or not as good as the other. We all bleed red, and I understand your conviction and what you're trying to say, but I also have a certain, maybe it could be past lives things or whatever, that could be getting a little weird for, a talk show, but I think the main thing is if you want to do some good, I don't see why it's bad to choose certain regions other than the one you're living in.
Okay, well, Spirito, Karin Smith has spent 46 years in South Africa. She has a radio show called Radio Free South Africa. I think she might change your mind here. So, Karin, good evening.
Good evening,
okay.
John. Hello, Spirito. Spirito, I do understand that if God calls you, you feel you need to go in a certain direction. And I have spoken to missionaries from our own church in our own town who also went to South Africa. And I do understand that you're working for God, who is your boss, and if he says go to South Africa, that's where you feel you ought to go. But
not to interrupt you, I apologize, but I'm looking to go to Sudan and South Sudan specifically, not South Africa.
Okay. Now, I don't know if you know a huge whole lot about Africa, but the African Americans that you meet in your own country have got nothing in common with Africans in Africa. These people, by tradition, the missionaries are the first people that they murder. And you see the cartoons about missionaries boiling in a pot. But it's not that funny. It is not that funny at all, because that's exactly what they do. The missionaries in the Congo, when the Congo went up in flames in the early, I would say, 60s, I wouldn't swear to that because that's not my specialty. The missionaries there were slaughtered in the most horrible ways, the ways that whites in South Africa are being tortured to death today. Gangs of blacks raped the nuns, then raped them with broken bottles, sharpened sticks, took out their eyes, cut off their breasts. They did the most unspeakable horrors to those people. Now, I can speak mainly for South Africa, Southwest Africa, and Rhodesia, which are all places where I've lived. But these are black people who migrated from up north, either recently or as far back as the 1700s. But none of those Africans in those countries are indigenous to the country. They all came from the north. So you're talking about the Sudan at the same time. These people profess to be Christian. South Africa, in the main, considers itself a Christian country, but laws have been passed by the communist government in South Africa making witch doctors on the same level as a medical doctor. So they can give you notes if you're sick for work. In South Africa, you have to take a sick note from a doctor if you take a day off work. These witch doctors can give you that note. So they're basically on the same level as somebody who has studied for 7 or 9 years. They make muti, which is a voodoo potion, and they use body parts to make it because body parts make the muti more strong and more able to cure whatever ails you. So if you have problems with your lover, if you have problems with your sex life, if you have financial problems, they will make a muti for you. And if you're prepared to pay the top dollar, they will use body parts to make that.
Okay. Also, Spirito.
Yes, sir.
Spirito, what is all that noise? Noise coming from somewhere.
There's actually no noise here. I don't know what you're hearing, but I do have bad reception where I live, so it is kind of shoddy.
Okay. I want to bring on Orlene. Orlene is with the Mormon Church, and I think she knows a little something about missionary work. Orlene, good evening.
Good evening, everyone. And yes, I served a mission in Holland, the Netherlands, and my favorite companion there was from Rhodesia. Her name was Judith Jubber, and I'm so worried about her now because she was forced to flee from Rhodesia when it became Zimbabwe. And now that I hear from Karin Smith what is happening in South Africa, I am so worried about her. I wish I could find if she's still alive. But it was wonderful to be a missionary in the Netherlands. It would be very different from Africa, especially what Karin has just told us. I had no idea that they were still boiling Christian missionaries in pots. Unbelievable what you've just told us.
Throughout Africa, it is the way of life, Orlene. They do this to the people that help them the most, the people who have got the best intention, the purest-hearted people are the first ones that they murder, skin alive, do all these terrible things to, that a civilized country doesn't believe can still happen in the world today. The atrocities that they are carrying out on whites in South Africa are exactly the way that they treat not only their own people, but the people who want to help them. You hear about aid workers that have been raped, slaughtered. People have gone in to help with outbreaks of diseases and things. They are slaughtered, but not just killed. There are atrocities committed on them. And I really fear for young people who feel the call to go to deepest, darkest Africa because it's not this mysterious continent and they're going to spread God's word. They have good hearts. Their intentions are good. But if they come back at all, they come back changed because those people don't know the meaning of compassion or kindness. It's awful. I feel awful saying that, but it really is the truth. They are so different from us. And at the same time, in your own country, there are veterans on the streets who need help. I read this week that the number of Christians in America has dropped horrifically. This country needs to turn back to God. This country...
If I could add to what you just said, Karen, I've just finished a book called Islam Rising, Christianity Waning in Europe and the USA, and you are so right. Christianity here in our country is on the decline like you've never seen. I show a graphic illustration in my book. From the 1960s till now, there has never been such a sharp decline in people who are attending church, people who profess to believe in God. So I definitely believe that this young man should probably just stay here and be a missionary because we need missionaries very much so in our own country. And
Yeah.
maybe a healthier experience.
Can I interrupt for 1 second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there a synopsis of the conviction of the conversation? Because I don't necessarily agree with everything that's said. So I appreciate all of your advice and I love it. But is there a main point that you're trying to bring out?
Yeah, Spirito, I can bring it out for you and put it in a nutshell. In Los Angeles alone, there are 50,000 people living on the streets. Somebody needs to administer 58,000 people living on the streets. And like I said, when I talked to you on the phone, I felt that why not start here? Now, right in your own backyard in San Francisco and also in L.A., people can't afford apartments. They're living in their cars. They're living on the streets. 58,000 in Los Angeles. What a ministry that is.
It's atrocious. Yes, I understand.
Yeah, so why not help these people? Why not administer to these people? Get them off the streets. Help them. I mean, they're right there. You don't have to travel all the way. It'll save you a plane ticket.
I completely understand what you're saying, but at the same time, sometimes there are certain passions that are deep in your heart where it doesn't have to be your region of origin. You can have feelings for different areas, and I don't understand why that's an issue at hand. Because if you're helping the world, you're helping the world in general, and that makes a big difference in the holistic value.
Yeah, people, I forgot to give you a toll-free number to call in. It's 855-355-1955. 855-355-1955. We'll be coming up on the break here very shortly in a couple of minutes. I hope you're going to enjoy the music. And I hope somebody can call in and maybe give some advice to this nice young gentleman, and so he doesn't go down, a path that he may later regret. So let's go to break. And if you want to call in 855-355-1955. We'll be joined by John Vincent after the break, Americans for Immigration Control. He might have some good advice. John is a really deep Christian man. I mean, he's one of the finest people I know. So besides Orlean and Karin and yeah, okay. So let's see. Let's hope you enjoy the music, and we'll see you right after the break.
Studies have shown that the farm soil we get our vegetables from is dead, meaning it is depleted of minerals. Sulfur is a mineral. Sulfur has been depleted from the soil, which means most people have been depleted of sulfur. Sulfur has been found to transport oxygen throughout the body. You need oxygen. You need organic sulfur. American Voice Radio Network has organic sulfur. Go to AmericanVoiceRadio.com and then to the Superstore to order your organic sulfur. It's your choice. Do you want to feel better or not? Don't forget to tune in to the Sulfur Hour Plus One on AmericanVoiceRadio.com, Thursdays, 6 p.m. Pacific.
Looking for an herb book with healing secrets that will empower you? You will want the Power Herbs book, filled with chapters on how to purge more toxins, best way to boost your immune system, how to make basic herbal tinctures, plus there's a symptom herb reference guide. Written by herbalist Wendy Wilson, the Power Herbs book offers hundreds of pages of essential information you won't want to be without, all for just $14.99. Available only in e-book formats for iPad, Kindle, and PDF. To order your copy today, visit thepowerherbs.com and download your Power Herbs ebook for just $14.99. Don't wait another minute to be empowered with natural solutions for everyday problems. Order the Power Herbs ebook now at thepowerherbs.com.
Most people realize their body needs clean water to function properly. Pure is the cleanest water, also known as distilled water. Some frauds pushing fake science and ignorant people repeating their disinformation and half-truths will tell you distilled water leaches minerals from the body. What they fail to tell you is distilled water only attracts and flushes inorganic minerals from your body. These are minerals your body cannot process and can interfere with your proper body functions. Distilled water does flush these inorganic materials from your body and is an effective and natural way to cleanse your body. AVR sells a distiller that distills 1 gallon every 3.5 hours. Go to AmericanVoiceRadio.com, click on the Superstore, go to the distiller, check the pricing and how to order, and watch the video explaining in detail why distilled water is pure water.
Man, this car has stopped again. And we're still 30 minutes away to get to that gig. Fellas, we got to get to that gig to make that money. Otherwise, we can't even fix this car. Better get those stumps out. We got to start hitchhiking. Man, oh man, oh man, ain't that just like it? You get a gig to make you some money, and then this raggedy old car breaks down. Got this raggedy old car, don't ever want to start, I got to go. Got this raggedy old car, don't ever want to stop, but I got to go. Don't be mad 'cause I'm late, I still got this car, man, you know. I finally got started, think I'll take her for a ride. Cruising down the hills, man, and break the suicide. Got this raggedy old car, don't ever want to start, but I got to go. Don't be mad 'cause I'm late, I still got this car, man, you know.
Welcome back to America Betrayed. You're listening to us on AVR, American Voice Radio Network, where you're always going to hear the truth. If you'd like to call in, the toll-free number is 855-355-1955. This half hour, we're joined with John Vincent, President of Americans for Immigration Control. And John is pretty much a very religious man, and John, we have a young man here on the show that would like to go to the Sudan as a missionary. Can you give him advice on this?
All I can say is we've got plenty of sinners here who can be ministered to, and you share the same culture and language with them. I mean, sometimes people get the direction from God to go to some foreign place, and I'm not going to criticize that, but if you have a choice, I think it's better to stay where you are and minister.
Yeah, Karin, back to you.
John, you know what? I feel very strongly that everything starts at home. Good manners, religion, local politics, everything starts in your backyard. If you get your home and your area right, then you can spread out. But if you just need to look out your front door, and you will find people who need to be brought closer to God, who need help, and instead of spending all that money going to the opposite end of the world, where Islamic forces in the Sudan have been persecuting Christians for centuries, literally. Start here, help here, clean up here, get your own country right first, and then take care of the rest of the world. That's my feeling on it.
How about you, Arlene?
Oh, I totally agree with Karin. We just see, like you mentioned, 58,000 homeless in Los Angeles, and look at every major city, especially in California. We have more homeless here than any other state. We have more poverty than any other state. We have the lowest life happiness than any other state. We're at the bottom on just having happiness in our lives because of what's happening. The whole mission could be right here in California. There are so many problems.
Well,
so I totally agree. We need to start with our own backyard and clean it up.
How does the Mormon Church... Yeah, go ahead, Fredo.
I really think there's deep roots of what the Western people have done to Africa and why we are where we're at. And that's kind of a big conviction in itself. I totally agree with what you're saying, but at the same time, what I'm trying to say is that I have a certain passion which I can't explain, and it's for a certain region of a certain country, and I don't see why that's a bad thing.
No,
okay,
it's not a bad thing. I sorry for interrupting. It's not a bad thing at all. But young people are very idealistic and sometimes not very realistic. And the reality of life in Africa is scary. And I know that if you feel that if God is for you, no one can be against you, and if God is on your side, everything will be okay, and God has a plan for you. But I'm telling you that in South Africa, the Afrikaner population are very, very Calvinistic religious people. They made a covenant with God in the 1700s, and they have kept it to this day. That has not stopped them from being tortured to death in their tens of thousands in the last 20 years by black people. And I really strongly feel that when I know you've got a calling, I understand that, and I would never gainsay what God has told you to do. I'm just trying to tell you that you're facing incredible, incredible danger, and you would probably be better off because this country is going the same way as Africa. And if we don't turn people to God here, we are going to be Africa in a decade maybe. And so we need to start here, fix at home, make this country back to that shining city upon a hill that the whole world look to. Don't let this country be destroyed because people are turning their eyes outwards and going and helping others instead of fixing the problems here.
Yeah, Spirito, you said that we did a lot of damage to Africa. Well, we've sent millions, if not billions of dollars to Africa. They took over after apartheid, but now in certain parts of Africa, they're pleading with white farmers to come back because they don't know how to do it. So, we contributed a lot and we took a lot, okay? But I think that
only to those countries which we had a reason to take over or help, which would be oil or something like that. Otherwise, we don't really help those countries that have no monetary value to help the U.S.
Okay, well, Russia, Russia's in there also. Everybody's in there for the gold, the diamonds, or whatever. It's not just the United States. But like I said, why are blacks pleading with white farmers to come back to do the farming? Okay, why is that? Now, the other thing, they're pleading with because they can't do it. Either they can't do it or they won't do it. So, I resent the fact that, I understand a lot of bad things that this country's done around the world, okay, but we're not the only ones. I saw in Congress, when I worked in Congress, how bad, evil, it's running this government. But like I said, I've seen so many homeless veterans sleeping under freeways, especially out in California, and children in Los Angeles, when a country that's supposed to be so wealthy, they're starving out there in the cold, sleeping. It gets
Don't you think
cold.
That's the responsibility of the government of California, not one single man who just wants to go pursue his dreams from heartfelt?
The California government is totally out of control. Okay. All they care about are illegal aliens. They spent millions and millions of dollars on illegal aliens instead of fixing the dam that could kill a lot of people. Okay, Jerry Brown is a communist. I'm from California originally, and what they've done to California is just atrocious. Now, I don't know how old you are, Spirito, but I'm pretty old, and I saw what happened to California. I know what's gone. It's already taken away. And like I said, I would wish that young people like you would stick around and try to fix this country instead of running somewhere else and say, hey, we've got to take care of them because we did something to them. Put this country back in shape. Otherwise, you're not going to have a country to come back to, Spirito. I guarantee it, you won't. You won't come back to any country that you can even recognize. And it's happening very quickly. Yes, go ahead. Who's
Understood.
Speaking?
Understood, and yeah, I get it.
And like I said, Karin spent 46 years over there. You have to listen to, people like this who know, that have been there. They've lived it. They've lived through it.
In three countries, 3 separate countries. And, you can't say it was apartheid in South Africa because Rhodesia did not have an apartheid government, and yet they went down first. They were eating rats. They killed the farmers. They threw the farmers off the land. They are now begging for the farmers to come back, but they're not going to give their land back. They're going to give them 25-year leases. In South Africa, where they've taken the farms away, the government is in possession of 4,000 farms that they took away from the white owners already. And the blacks that claimed the farms don't want them. They wanted money instead. So the government gave the black people the money, and they are in possession of those farms, which are lying fallow. The biggest tea producer in South Africa, the biggest citrus producer in South Africa. We export it all over the world. Those farms have had the trees chopped down, the buildings torn apart, so that just the foundations remain. The people are going to starve in that country because of this. So you need to turn your country around before it gets to that. There's an article that must be already read. It's on my website. It's called Genocide in South Africa, The Left's Blueprint for the West. It tells you exactly what is happening in South Africa, what has happened in Zimbabwe, and that it's rolling out way faster all over the world. And I'm scared for this country. It is the shining beacon. The whole world wants to come here. But we who live here are letting it fall apart, letting it go to hell in a handbasket. And it's people, the young people, like this young man, that need to stay here and turn it around.
Yeah, how about you, John?
I read that article on your website, Karin, and it's excellent. And if I remember, it was something like 500,000 whites have been killed. Is it in just the last 10 years, or I can't remember? It was
25 years, but it's more than in any war zone. It's more soldiers than you have had killed in Iraq and Afghanistan together in wars. So these are people living their daily lives, going to work, coming home, watching TV with their family. The house is broken into by no less than 4, but generally 8 to 11 blacks, armed to the teeth, tie up the father, rape the mother, rape the kids, boil the children in boiling water. I mean, it's horrific, and it's coming to this country if we do not stop it.
Yeah.
Karin, yes.
Karin, I just heard recently that they were running a rampage over there right now. It just started 2 days ago, burning churches, burning down, and they've said already passed a law where they're going to take all white farmers' land, and the next is to kill all white people. Now, the only country that's...
Yes, that's exactly what's happening. There's a beautiful town. It's the whale-watching capital of the world, Hermanus, on the coast in South Africa, where people go every year from all over the world to go out on boats and watch the whales. Now, they've burnt that town down this weekend, and they're still burning it because they wanted to grab vacant land there, and the inhabitants and the police tried to chase them off, so they burnt the town down. And what they've done this year as well is they've burnt over 3,000 train carriages because the trains were over full or late. So you burn down the trains, burn the railway stations, and then create an incredible fuss because now there's no transport. They burn the churches. They burn down post offices. I can't explain to you what a mess that once first world breadbasket of the world is now. And it's coming, it's in Europe, you can see it yourself. They're doing it in Europe, and it's coming to the USA. If the young people do not stand up and save this country, the world is gone. There is no hope for the world if the USA goes down.
Well, like I said, they are dismantling this country little. It was little by little, but now it's big chunks at a time. And their goal is a communist type government. That's the deep state. That's what they want, a communist type government. They've done it in France. They've done it in Germany, but they've done it with the Muslims. The Muslims. I don't care if a person wants to be a Muslim or whatever, but when their religion says, look, if we can't convert you, our duty is to kill you. There is no in between. Well, get out. We don't want that type of people here.
We don't want our young people going there. But we have to worry and pray. And
Can I intervene for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
I believe there's like an energetic pulse in helping humanity and the world as a holistic, entity, and I really think that maybe starting with those countries that are so hurting and bound up with corrupt governments and everything else might be our best chance to help the United States in the long term, because you are helping, the ground roots from back up. Does that make sense or no?
No, Spirito, we have a corrupt government, okay? Totally corrupt.
No, I understand that we in the U.S. do, but conviction statement tell me if you could formulate that in a proper manner for what I should do?
Well, I think Spirit, I think we've been pretty clear that we need all the youth here in this country to please stay here. I probably won't be around to see it, okay? I'm up there in age, and I probably won't see it. But you will see it, okay? I guarantee it. And the youth will. And if the youth keeps going to other countries and says, hey, we're going to try to help them, and like I said, by the time you get back, there won't be a country like you left. And that is an absolute guarantee. 10 years.
Every country will fall. It's known. If you just follow history, the United States will fall, no matter what we want to do or how to protect it. I mean, if you just date back thousands of years, every 300 to 400 years, no matter how powerful you are, you will fall. I mean, the United States will fall no matter what.
So that you don't care?
Oh, not that I don't care at all. No, I definitely care. But I do understand.
We can, though.
Okay, well, I was young like you once, and saying I'm not going to listen to anybody. I'm going to just go on, and you pay the price for it, Spirito. And here is people that have spent a lot of time outside the country. They're a lot older. You've got to try to listen to some of it because And you say this country has to fall. It doesn't have to fall.
It doesn't have to fall, but history repeats itself.
Okay, but it doesn't have to fall. It will fall if people like you leave the country. It will fall.
Okay,
the youth. I got involved with illegal immigration many, many years ago, 30 years ago. And I tried to get young people involved. We're not involved with that. But as soon as they lost their job to an illegal alien, all of a sudden they're coming over and saying, hey, how can we help? Can you help us? There was a good friend of mine who just passed away a couple of years ago. When I got involved with illegal immigration, he kept saying, oh, you're a right-wing fanatic, blah, blah, blah. And then I asked him if he wanted to be in one of my films. He said, sure. I said, well, I thought you said I was a right-wing fanatic. He said, well, illegal. He had a job painting houses at $21 an hour. Illegal aliens came in and started doing it for $8 an hour. And all of a sudden, he's impacted. And that's what happens. People don't get involved unless they're directly impacted. I don't think you've been impacted, Spirito, because I know that Frank and others. Frank, why don't you come on just for a second? I want to hear your opinion on this.
Okay. On what exactly?
Is Frank there?
Oh, wait. Yeah, here I am. Now you can hear me over there, too. Got a lot of knobs and dials over here. Sorry. Okay, what did you want my opinion on specifically? Because you guys have talked about quite a bit.
Any advice? You've heard Spirito. Any advice you could give him? I mean, Karen's tried to give him advice, Orlean, John, and now you. I mean,
well,
go.
Okay. Well, look, I too was young at one time, and I can look back and realize I made a lot of bad decisions, and they seemed good at the time. And that's not me or Spirito or just you. It's just a function of youth. I mean, it's the way it is. But the thing about it is, this is a kind of a spiritual thing, because from what I hear, Spirito is moved to go to Africa, and not for any. Okay, look, I've got my list right here of all the reasons. It's more of a feeling that, look, this is just something that's compelling me to do that. And I get that, but consider, too, that, a lot of folks think that saying, well, America first and this and that, the other thing is nationalistic, but it's also biblical, because, you're supposed to help your family before you run around helping strangers. The Bible says that, if you don't provide for your family, you're worse than an infidel. And that doesn't just mean food and water and clothes and a house. It also means spiritually. And I think there's no argument here that America has a deep spiritual problem. We're failing. We're going to fall if we stay on the path we are. And the path we're on is we've thrown God out of the country, out of the schools, out of everywhere. Anywhere we could, we threw them out of here. And if anybody needs missionaries, it's this country. Because, listen, the sad fact is Africa has already fallen.
Mm-hmm.
America is on its way to falling. And from what I hear, everybody agrees it doesn't have to. But, boy, if we don't change our ways, we're going to. So, it's kind of a, I think anybody who wants to try to do something to prevent that, I think missionary work right here in this country is a great plan because, boy, we sure need it. And, you all were talking earlier about the homeless. Well, I'll tell you something about the homeless because I was homeless for 7 years. And most of the people on the street, not all of them, that's for sure, really have a much deeper relationship with the Lord than, most people you're going to find in, say, Hollywood, California. Doing good, wearing suits, going to, San Francisco, going to work at Google, and all that stuff. Okay? And those people, they got fancy cars and they got nice suits, but you know what? They need the Lord too. There is all kinds of places for missionary work. And my whole thing is just, you got to deal with your family before you deal with strangers. That's my opinion. That I believe is backed up biblically also. But, hey, again, it is your life and it is your decision.
Yeah, well, thanks, Frank. We're up on the end of this show this hour. We'd like to come back and again sometime in the very near future. Karin, why don't you give your website where we've got a real short amount of time here. Karin?
RadioFreeSouthAfrica.com.
Okay, and Arlene?
EagleForumofCalifornia.org.
Okay, and John? John Vincent?
www.aicfoundation.com.
Yeah, this is the most people I've had on my show in so many years. And I hope that, Spirito, we pass some information on to you. And please don't accept it as fact that this country is going to fall. It will fall if we don't turn back to God. Yes, it will. So I hope you stick around and help out. And,
If I could revisit soon, talk about my reflection on this, kind of like debate, if you may say it. I would like to.
Yeah, and Frank, why don't you tell people where you can hear your show?
Well, right here where they hear you on American Voice Radio Network. I'll be on in about an hour.
And John Vincent.
Hi.
John Vincent?
Yes.
Your website?
I already gave it.
Oh, you did? Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed the end song here, and I hope that we all probably learned something from this debate. I hope, because all of us have to pitch in, not just the youth, but us older folks. And if we don't, then we're done for, because the beast is at the door, inside the door, and it'll be the end of this country. I hope not, because we started out as a beacon, and I hope it can rekindle that light. Don't forget, check out my books, Dead Angel and Posan, on Amazon.com, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
I used to live like I was under attack, jobs and arrows from my past. I had no hope for tomorrow. Felt so much pressure, yes, I thought I would crack, but now there's no looking back. I'm moving forward, 'cause I know I got my armor now. No fear, no doubt, can't shoot me down. Yeah, I got my armor now. No fear, no doubt, gonna shoot me down, 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 down.